Okay, this is going to be a short video on how to do a cartoon point of view analysis. Tomorrow, you're going to have an assignment that's called Welcome to All point of view analysis. And what Welcome to All is it's a political cartoon from the Gilded Age that I'm going to ask you to analyze for its point of view. What I wanted to do here is give you a little bit of a heads up on what that assignment's going to look like and kind of demonstrate what's going on. So this sheet that's on my screen right now, this Google Doc, is what your assignment's going to look like. This one is on a cartoon called Bosses of the Senate. So in the instructions, it says, analyze this historical source and then answer the following prompts. So I'm going to open up this in a separate tab. In this case, this is a very famous Gilded Age cartoon. Now, the cartoon you have tomorrow is going to be different than this one, but it's the same idea. This one is called Bosses of the Senate. It's by an artist named Joseph Kepler. This is something you always want to kind of look at on a cartoon is who's the artist, or maybe what's the source. It might be something that you could Google and find some information about. And you've probably seen this before if you've looked through the textbook. Let me see if I can get my spotlight thing. Can I do that? Okay. So a few things. So it's called Bosses of the Senate. What we have is we have a bunch of congressmen, some U.S. senators, and they're all at their desk, kind of lounging about. They don't look too busy. And then behind them, we've got all of these big, giant, fat, wealthy industrialists. Remember, these are the captains of industry or the robber barons. And they're drawn large. If you look right in the middle, almost like the queen bee here, this is Standard Oil Trust. Each one of these is labeled copper, steel, nail, iron, and so forth. Each of the trusts or each of these big industrials are labeled with a different monopoly. This door says entrance for the monopolist, and they're coming in there. This door all the way over here, if you zoomed in, you can't really see it super well, but that is the people's entrance, and it's closed. So again, if we were to try to illustrate the dilemma of capitalism versus democracy, the capitalists are able to come in and have all of this influence, and the people have been shut out. This statement here is the famous saying by Abraham Lincoln: the government is of the people, by the people, for the people. Instead, this says of the monopolist, by the monopolist, and for the monopolist. So, with that kind of analysis done, and there's lots of ways you can analyze a cartoon. The way I just showed you there was kind of going piece by piece and looking at each little segment. That's one way. You can also just look for like symbolism. The fact that all of these guys are very small and negligible, while these guys are large, fat, and prominent, that gives you an idea for the cartoonist point of view. Okay, so now let's go back to our sheet. On the assignment, you're going to write your answers directly on the document. For full credit, you're going to write a couple sentences for each one of these, rename this document, and submit it on Canvas. So now let's look at some examples of how you might answer this. When we do assignments in this class, I'm grading everything on a 0.5, 1, 2, 3, or 4 scale. If you remember from going over the syllabus, 0.5 means that it's not good enough. That's incomplete or an F. A 1 is essentially C level work. A 2 is a B, meaning that it's approaching mastery. 3 is an A, that's mastery. And 4 is exemplary. So I want to give you just a couple of examples of responses to this. One that's like a 2 level response, and one that's a 4 level response. So I'm going to click over to this tab. This is kind of an answer to this cartoon, this point of view analysis. And what you see in red here are answers that are good enough to probably get a 2, meaning that this answer is approaching mastery. And we'll just kind of read through it, and I'll tell you why. So number 1 says, explain the point of view. what is the main idea or the point that the author is trying to get across, and what's the artist's background that may impact that. This answer says, this cartoon is basically saying business leaders are more powerful than senators. I don't think the artist thinks this is a good thing because the bosses look evil and controlling and the senators look helpless. That's generally a right answer. That is kind of the main idea. And, this student has told me why they think so. Now, it's not super detailed. It's only 2 sentences. And it doesn't really get into the author or speaker's background. So it's good, but it's not necessarily mastery or perfect. The second question, explain how the context of this source impacted its view. What events led to this point of view? What evidence might complicate it? This viewpoint was common in the Gilded Age because the government took a laissez-faire approach. In general, business leaders did whatever they wanted and didn't have to care for the common person. This gives me some general ideas of what led to this point of view. Laissez-faire, business leaders not seeming to care. There's not a lot there about, contradictory evidence or, alternate viewpoints. But it gives me a little bit of context. Oh, this is a Gilded Age cartoon, laissez-faire led to this. So again, that's right. It's not necessarily mastery or exemplary, but it's getting there. And then number 3, how have different audiences received its message? I don't think that people like Carnegie or Rockefeller would like this message. I agree. That's a correct answer. They think they are captains of industry and they do a lot of good through their charity work. Again, that's pretty good. That actually might have been better up here because that's kind of the type of evidence that would complicate the point of view. This does not do a whole lot of does it help or hurt the author's point of view? So again, this response, I think altogether it's about 6 sentences. They're all generally right. They don't answer every question, but they get the main idea. This is a 2. It's approaching mastery. Now, I want to show you a top level response. This is this one over here is a 4. And you can just see right off the bat that this person wrote more. Now, just because you write a lot doesn't mean it's a better answer, but you can see it's much more detailed. This person, and I'm not going to read all of this, but I'll leave it up here on the screen so that you can pause it and read it if you wanted to. But this person talks about the values of democracy being shut out. They Googled Joseph Kepler and said a little bit about his background. Gilded Age, corruption, bribes, also has government took a laissez-faire approach. What makes this artist position a little tricky. So that's kind of this complicate their point of view. Factory workers or labor unions would support this. Great capitalists would be upset. As far as does it help or hurt? Eventually, we pass anti-monopoly laws, and now we directly elect senators with a popular vote. So that kind of says, hey, this probably helped accomplish what it wanted to accomplish. This answer here is exemplary. I don't necessarily expect every student to be able to do this. But if you're able to do this level of work, for a point of view analysis, that is exemplary. I'm going to give you a 4. I think those 2 examples kind of show you some benchmarks, a 2 and a 4. If you're scoring a 0.5 or a 1, you can start to practice, how can I just get to a 2? I don't have to write a lot. I just have to be accurate and on point. If I'm at a 2 and I'm trying to get to a 3 or a 4, this is some of the level work that you can shoot for. Okay, that's how to do a point of view analysis. Tomorrow, I think the assignment is called Welcome to All Cartoon Point of View Analysis. So you'll get to practice this with a different cartoon. That's your assignment for Friday. All right, thanks for watching. That's it.